Good afternoon. It is Thursday, May 4th, and this is a joint committee of the Government Operations and Transportation and Environment Committee, and we have one item on this budget work session, and that is the FY24 operating budget for the Montgomery County Green Banks NDA, and we are joined by the leadership of the Green Bank, the new Executive Director, CEO, Steve Morrell, CEO, and the founding CEO, who is still on board, Mr. Tom Deo. Thank you very much. And I see Mr. Edwards behind us too. But Mr. Howard, I'll turn it over to you if you want to walk us through this packet, or if anyone else has any comments. No? Okay. Technical difficulties.
Great. I will briefly walk through the staff report and the committee's decision points, and then we can turn it over to Mr. Morrell if you would like to make any comments, as well as Mr. Deo. The executive's recommendation for the Green Bank non-departmental account is $19,315,141 in FY. Of course I can. Thank you. The executive's recommendation in FY24 for the Green Bank NDA is $19,315,141, which is an increase of $667,000 or $184, 3.7% over the FY23 approved level. This NDA was created last year, so this is the second year of the NDA, and it was created in response to the Council adopting Bill 4421, which provided a mechanism to providing 10% of the annual energy tax revenue to the Green Bank for different projects. The Bill 4421 does require the 10% appropriation of the fuel energy tax revenue. However, as noted, as part of the bill discussion, the Council's annual appropriation decisions as part of this budget review will make the final decision on each year's appropriation for the Green Bank NDA. On page 2, we've listed the FY23 approved and proposed FY24 budget of the Green Bank. As you can see, the energy tax revenue represents the primary source of funds for the organization. And on the chart, you can see how they plan to use the energy tax in FY23 and how they would propose to use it in FY24, with the majority of the energy tax revenue being kind of set aside for loan capital deployment. The county did execute a memorandum of understanding with the Green Bank last fall. When we met last year, that was still under development. And the county is required to make monthly disbursements to the Green Bank, consisting of 10% of the actual revenue received by the county for the period between payments up to the amount that the council appropriates. On page 3, we have a table that shows how the Green Bank has used the energy tax revenue during FY23, as well as a summary of the different projects, and further information is included in the attached pages 2 through 7. But the table on page 3 shows that the Green Bank reports they have used a total of $16.1 million over 14 projects and 3 facilities supported in FY23. The Green Bank reports they have used $5.2 million for projects in equity emphasis areas, which is in excess of the 20% requirement in the code for projects in equity emphasis areas. And to date, they have used just over $2.0 million to reduce the cost of clean energy projects, which is slightly below the 15% minimum that's required in the code for those types of projects. And the Green Bank also reports a current pipeline of 25 projects with an estimated investment of $7.8 million and a total project value of $25.6 million. They've included on page 4 a list of some of the investment highlights or projects that they've worked on. I will let Mr. Morrell and Mr. Deo explain those in more detail, as they would be able to do that better than I could. But there's also more information on each of those projects in the staff report. And the staff recommendation would then be to place the increase of $667,184 on the reconciliation list as a priority item, and approving the rest of the budget as submitted by the executive. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you very much, Mr. Howard. Mr. Morrell, Mr. Deo, welcome comments.
Wonderful. Well, thank you, and appreciate the opportunity to speak today and to answer questions. I think that a lot of the information in the staff packet really explains our position of where we come from. I just would want to state that We've had quite a bit of success from the energy tax proceeds that we were able to use in FY23 across different areas, which are laid out in the packet, but just really want to emphasize because you can see them within the projects themselves. We got to build capacity amongst our financial partners as well as our own, and you can see that in the leverage fact that we get to take a limited pot of money and then turn it into a larger resource. It's because we build that financial capacity. We did get to close projects and build a pipeline of projects. Financial transactions take a long time sometimes to proceed, sometimes many months, and so building that pipeline is very important for continued activity. And we got to implement programs related to reducing energy costs, and particularly the energy burden, which for many residents in the low and moderate income sphere is higher as a proportion of income and a big focus of ours. And we were able to implement programs to do that. So we look forward under the new proposed budget to be able to do the same and accelerate our activities, and appreciate again the opportunity to answer questions today.
Well, as I noted at the beginning, I just want to congratulate you on this new and well-deserved role, and thank Mr. Deo for his leadership to get the Green Bank to the point where it is. And I think all of my colleagues here were at Gaithersburg for that incredible groundbreaking for that project, which is, as was noted even this morning at a very different event in downtown Silver Spring, where the governor was as well, that project is the largest residential solar project in the state. And so lots to be proud of, good stewardship. The one question I do have is if you could explain the increase in the budget and what those uses would be for.
Yes, certainly. So we had a fairly similar projected increase in the budget relative to administration coming into the last year that we were able to build our own capacity with. We were able to bring in more FTEs as well as build in our back office capacity. For our belief moving forward, it's important to continue to build that functional capacity as a good financial steward of funds that we're using, and also to deploy in projects. So most of the increase that you see here is relative to that increase in headcount for various positions of control with portfolio management, with credit management, as well as some additional pieces to help in our outreach as we go out and do more outreach in equity emphasis areas and other areas. And so that's the significant part of the increase that you see in the expenses there.
Thank you. And last question before I turn it over to colleagues. We're having lots of conversations about personnel here, recognizing that the county government has between 1,200 and 1,500 vacancies on any given day. And so I recognize the nearly $668,000, $100,000 that are being requested. How many FTEs or even part-time equivalents do you think that would be?
So we're actually projecting an increase of 4 FTEs, and this gets to the factor that we want to leverage the energy tax in our capital for our transactions, and then we get return from other sources. So the sources listed here as non-energy tax revenue are relatively small. However, they grow the more activities that we can do, and so we're anticipating growth from that. We are anticipating using as much as we can towards that personnel growth as well as our own. So I think you actually get a good bang for your buck relative to the cost of FTEs, as we will be able to layer in our other resources.
Great, thank you. I'll turn it over to the chair of the GEO committee.
Great, thank you so much, and I appreciate you being here. Thank you for your service, and congratulations on moving forward. So just to dig in a bit more on what Council President Glass was talking about in terms of the new positions, just because we've been talking a lot about that these days. If, for whatever reason, those funds did not come through, what would be your concerns? Like, how would it limit you in the year moving forward?
Mm-hmm. No, I think it's a good question and appreciate that significantly. I think that we are not in a position in the county to really have deals come to the Green Bank just sitting back. And that's a good thing. We want to have a business development function and an origination function that educates the market just as much as we provide financial resources out there. So the more that we can't actually put resources to that kind of outreach into the community, it unfortunately just means the less that we can educate in the community, the less that we can see the type that have visibility on the types of clean energy projects that are out there that we can help support. Clearly, we always focus on financial stewardship first to make sure that we are doing things correctly internally from an internal controls perspective. And as we have to think about the order of operations of FTEs and resources that we put, we always put it to that kind of stewardship first. And so I think that we would suffer or at least have a diminished capacity on that outreach effect as we look at potentially lowering that headcount.
Great. And, you know, we've been talking also a lot about the difficulties of actually hiring. And in your experience over the last couple of years, hiring people to fill vacancies, how optimistic are you that you will be able to find the right people for these positions in this coming year?
Yeah, I appreciate that. I'd say that we are always very cautiously optimistic, which you have to be in this environment. In the last 2 years, we've done 2 real larger waves of hiring. The first was very challenging on this front, and the second was significantly better. The reason that the second wave was better is because people could take a look at our website and see the case studies and understand better what a green bank does, which, as you know, is not necessarily an easy question to answer unless you've really been in it before and heard some kind of outreach. And so for the market to actually see what we've done, see the examples like Seneca Village that the governor came to, it gave us a profile that really, or gives us a profile that really helps us recruit. And so, again, I'm always very cautious, but I would say cautiously optimistic that we will be able to hire well in this environment. Whether that means we can hire well in 3 months or 6 months or 9 months, I'm not sure. But we do dedicate our resources to making sure we see as many candidates as we can, particularly as we take a look at hiring a diverse workforce and really bringing in perspectives from all across the county, all sorts of backgrounds. That sometimes takes time.
Great, thank you. And I would actually like to move that we make this a high priority. I know we have DEP coming in later for the T&E committee to talk about that, but I see, as you described, the outreach potential and the work that you have been doing and the potential you have to do more as something that we should put a high priority on.
Very good. Thank you. Councilmember Friedson.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, and Mr. Chair, and thank you, Madam Co-Chair. First of all, thank you, Mr. Deo. I really appreciate it. One of our early meetings that we had after taking office, I grilled you and was pretty tough on looking at the loan pipeline and determining how we could get the money out the door. And I made a commitment. You made a commitment to me, and I made a commitment to you. You committed that you were going to get the money out the door and actually move the money to doing what it was intended to do, which is to actually tackle our climate crisis. And I made a commitment that if you can prove that you can get the money out the door, we'll figure out a way to get you more money. And really proud that you first started getting money out the door, and then working with Councilmember Hucker, we were able to put you in a position to exponentially increase the work that you do. And I think you have demonstrated that it was a wise choice. And you know, we're still early on in this, but people are noticing, including the governor, including others, that this is a really effective tool to be able to leverage a financial institution that we have now set up, a unique dynamic as a county, and when we did it. And I want to give kudos again to Councilmember Berliner, my predecessor, who set this up, and I really appreciate all the work that you have done to put us in this position, and wish you well. It's quite a legacy that you are leaving, and pleased to see you turning the reins over to a known commodity. I was a little nervous when you reached out to tell me about the news, and I'm reassured to know, Mr. Morrill, that you are going to step in and continue the work that you have been doing. So I just wanted to acknowledge that and thank you for that. And I did want to also acknowledge Stan Edwards, he's literally and figuratively standing right behind you, or sitting right behind you. And Mr. Edwards really has been an integral person in the Green Bank's ascent. And I just wanted to acknowledge that. You know, you're here as Department of Environmental Protection on behalf of the executive branch, but really as the special advisor to the board and to this organization, and has been a trusted advisor for the council as well on how we leverage the Green Bank and how we can move it forward. So I wanted to thank you for that. With that said, there was two key components of the bill that were included, and I want to acknowledge Nancy Navarro and Hans Riemer, who really pushed for these changes in the bill to fund you. One was for a focus on energy, specific clean energy, not just carbon reduction projects, and one was for an emphasis and a focus on equity emphasis areas. Could you give us, there's a little bit of this in the packet, could you just highlight where you are based on those goals and how you're approaching that work? Because I think it's really important and really was at the core of the council's overwhelming support in advancing the bill and moving forward the significant expenditure of resources here.
No, I appreciate that. Thank you. And also agree completely with the comments in terms of the work that Tom has done, and appreciative from my perspective. As Craig was mentioning, there's a breakdown between a percentage dedicated to equity emphasis areas, as well as resources to be able to subsidize the market and make clean energy cheaper. We actually exceeded the percentage relative to equity emphasis areas about halfway through the fiscal year. It didn't mean that we turned off the engines on our marketing in the equity emphasis areas, and so part of our pipeline includes activities that will continue to ramp up there. A lot of those type of activities are in the multifamily space, and we see a lot of opportunities similar to the Seneca Village type project to be able to do more, but also businesses and commercial entities in these equity emphasis areas that really reach the local community. So that number will get higher than 3.72 million that it was the threshold last year, and I have the full confidence that we'll meet it in the next year as well. In the second bucket, we really look to programs and activities that will reduce the cost of energy in the community in support of our other activities. And we do that currently in two ways. One is through technical assistance, where we can provide funds to pay for energy performance audits. Once customers are able to learn what type of economic value proposition there is for conducting energy conservation measures, it tends to make more sense to move forward. And so we are always willing to help promote that activity, which we do by paying for energy performance audits. We also utilize the funds to buy down interest rates in loans so that there can be a cheaper cost to capital relative to the capital stack that a project requires to get moving. And that cheaper cost to capital results in real dollars that sponsor that individual's savings, and that they can share those savings with tenants if it's a landlord-tenant relationship, or also reinvest themselves in other activities. So we will do more of that in the coming year. As Craig mentioned, we're around a little over 2 million relative to the 2.79 million target. We have several technical assistance contracts that are in the wings waiting to be signed, which will provide this commitment of funds to actually cross that threshold. So we should be crossing that threshold in the next month as we finish diligence on those contracts for technical assistance. We are generally broadening the technical assistance program to also include benchmarking, data verification, to go behind that in order to support DEP's programming moving forward for both benchmarking purposes as well as building energy performance standards. So we see that program increasing in FY24, and the spend will increase there as well. And so between those two items, we anticipate that we would exceed the threshold in FY24 as well, but we are always looking for new programs to reduce the energy burden and subsidize costs out there. Through our board of directors, we may implement new programs to add on to that, but we already see such an increase in activity in the TA and the need to buy down interest rates.
Appreciate that. I appreciate the high priority. I do think we committed in law to 10%, and I will note that the funds get dispersed on a monthly basis, so it's authorization. It's not a direct appropriation like on July 1st. The organization gets all the funding on a monthly basis based on the fuel energy tax receipts. They're getting appropriated dollars, so it is directly tied to that, and so I appreciate that and agree as well. I'll yield back. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Balcom.
Thank you, and kudos to Mr. Deo. Thank you. It's been a pleasure working with you through the years. So the question I have, and this is a process question for an NDA, do you follow the same lapse policy as departments? So in the 4 new positions, do you have a lapse amount calculated for, I'm assuming these 4 positions wouldn't start on July 1?
Yeah, so in terms of the council and the county and the executive's budgeting process, no, the NDAs are different in terms of, we just are providing a dollar amount. The council doesn't review the line item budget, or approve the line item budget. We're just providing a dollar amount in terms of a revenue source to the Green Bank.
Right. So so given that the increase is for FTEs, and so the 667, a large chunk of that is new FTEs, correct?
Well, the increase is due to the energy tax revenue amounts. So the increase that the council is considering is based on the law, which says 10% of the projected energy tax revenue.
Right.
Now, what the Green Bank is going to kind of
Spend that on,
use
right.
all that money for, I think, is a combination of different things.
So that was my first question, and then I thought I didn't understand it correctly, so I asked the other question. So how is this not non-discretionary in terms of, why wouldn't this be considered a non-discretionary increase?
Because the council's, as part of the bill discussion, when this bill was approved, in discussion with the county attorney and the council attorney, it was made clear that the council's appropriation authority has the final kind of decision point for this dollar amount. So the council has the authority to approve an amount that's less than 10% if it so chooses.
Okay, so I would agree with my colleague, Councilmember Stewart, that I would consider this a high priority.
And appreciate Councilmember Balcom asking that question, because I think, as was noted, and one of the co-sponsors could speak to it if I don't accurately address it. But while the appropriation was made and codified in law, it also said that we could change the funding depending on the budget.
Okay.
Councilmember Katz.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. First off, I too want to join the chorus of congratulating everybody and for the change and for the addition. And I have to, and I'm going to associate myself with what my colleagues have already said. But I have to tell you, I'm very impressed. Tom, you remember, I was a skeptic in the beginning of this. I really was, and I thought it was confusing at times. But you have proven me to be wrong. That's great. It really is. I mean, it doesn't take much to prove me wrong, but you certainly did it. You've done a terrific job. I think I think you're heading in the right direction, or in the right direction. And I agree with Chair Stewart that this should be moved to a high priority. I've said time and time again that if we want someone to get this job done, we have to give them the resources to do it. And that's what this would do. So thank you. And I yield back to you, Mr. President.
Thank you. Well, I agree with that, and it sounds like we're all in agreement about the need to increase the capacity to fulfill the obligation that we have tasked you with, right? It sounded like a Friedson-ism. Yeah. Right. I've been listening to him enough over the years. I was like, that, yes, a Friedson-ism. Did we just coin something? I don't know. So without objection, we'll make that recommendation. And if we do not see you back at the table again, Mr. Deo, thank you very much for your leadership, for helping install the Green Bank here in Montgomery County, plugging it in, getting it started. I'm going to stop right there.
Or then you would be
other Friedsonisms, right? I'm channeling. But thank you, and Mr. Morrell, congratulations again. And so this joint committee is adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.
And we will take a 5-minute break before we restart with T&E.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.